Hello, everybody. My name is Nick Rudolph. I'm the Baltimore Regional Director with Maryland Capital Enterprises. Donna, are you on here?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Sorry, I can only see my the PowerPoint. Donna Langley is our Women's Business Center Director for the Baltimore region. And we are both going to be doing a presentation this afternoon on the first steps in starting your business. We'll be going back and forth so that you don't hear just one of us talk all day. And before I hand it over to Donna, I'll do a brief introduction about myself, and we'll just go ahead and get started. We are recording this webinar. It will be available on YouTube. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please place them in the chat, and we'll get to them as we can or after the presentation. So like I said, my name is Nick Rudolph. I am the Baltimore Regional Director with Maryland Capital Enterprises. I've been with MCE since 2015. Before that, I used to work in the Main Street programs before both the city and the state. And I also have experience opening up restaurants for front of house and some management experience as well. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Donna now.
Hi, I'm Donna Weincoop, and I am the coordinator for the Baltimore Women's Business Center here at MCE. I'd like to thank each of you for being here. It is the noon hour, so please pull up a sandwich or pour yourself a hot cup of coffee and join us as we talk about first steps of starting your business. I did want to also say that there will be an opportunity for questions at the end of this presentation as well, and our contact information is listed in the chat, but it's also listed at the end of the presentation as well. Prior to coming to MCE, I was the director of Baltimore Main Streets at the Baltimore Development Corporation, which is the economic development arm of the city, and I worked with over 2,000 small businesses to help their vision for their business become a reality. So I'm very happy to be here today. And without further ado, let's get started. Nick, thank you. Maryland Capital Enterprises is a nonprofit and a community development financial institution and small business administration approved lender. We have two offices in Salisbury and Baltimore, and our service area includes the Eastern Shore, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. We work with both new and existing businesses, and we also have two women's business centers, both in Baltimore and Salisbury. Our websites are listed at the bottom of this slide, and I encourage you to visit them when you get a chance and see what we have to offer. Next slide, please. So Maryland Capital Enterprises has these following four certifications, but what does that mean to you? Really, what it means is that we have more pots of money on which to draw from in order to fund businesses. We also provide free technical assistance, which is at the heart of what we do, to small businesses throughout the state of Maryland. And that's everything from helping to write business plans to doing cash flows, webinars on a wide variety of topics, such as this one. We've also done things like taking your side hustle to the next level, advanced QuickBooks, and we even match clients with experts in the field to do things like build websites or assist with advanced accounting. And now that we've gotten the basics out of the way, Nick is going to talk to you about starting a business.
Alrighty, so for the rest of this presentation, we're really going to get into the meat of it. We're going to talk about what it takes to start a business, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what we need in a business plan, cash flow projections, and then, of course, how to access capital to start or grow your business. So the first question is, why would somebody want to start a business? And there's lots and lots of reasons, and I'm sure you all have your own reasons. So, it can be to increase income. It can be really to do something that you enjoy doing, express your talent and your passion or your interest. Find a way to love what you do that is your career. It helps move hobbies into a profit-making stage. It allows you to be your own boss. It can allow you to work flexible hours, and it helps develop another career. Oftentimes, folks will keep their full-time job and have a part-time small business. Starting your own business is exciting and rewarding. but it can also be a pretty stressful and pretty trying time. As we all know, starting a business can come with some risk, but through thorough planning, which is what we like to focus on, building that strong foundation for your small business, creativity, hard work, and of course, using the resources available to you, you can be a successful business owner. So these are the scary numbers, but they're really not as scary as they appear. So 30% of new businesses are going to close in the first 2 years, and 80% are going to close in the first 10 years. But that isn't always a bad thing. Businesses can close because people retire. They can close because they're sold to a new person. But it is still risky to open up a business, and there are certain business types that are more risky than others. And working with groups like MCE, you can get the counseling and technical assistance that you need to figure out, what the risk level for your business is and how to mitigate that risk. So this PowerPoint will be available, so I'm not going to read all 20 of these questions to you, but there are some questions you want to ask yourself before you start a small business. The first one being, why am I starting this business? You really want to understand, are you doing this because it's a passion, or are you doing it because you don't want to work for somebody anymore? Are you doing it because you want to do less work than you're currently doing, and is that reality? You also want to think about what kind of business that you have and the customers you're going to serve. You also want to make sure that you have got the bandwidth in your life to spend the time and money to get that business started. You also want to look at your area that you'll be serving, see who your competitors are, and see what makes you different than the other folks. To do that, of course, you're going to need to know where you are going to be located. Are you going to be home-based, or are you going to have a brick-and-mortar store? Can you run it by yourself or with a business partner? Or are you going to need employees? And then what do you need to actually get started in terms of supplies and money? If you need funding, can you get a loan, or can you get investments from somebody else? Or perhaps do you have some money to start off on your own? How long will it take before your product and services are available? If you're creating something, we've had folks create things like exercise equipment in the past. There's a lag between when that design comes in and when it can actually be produced and sold. So are you ready for that? You want to know who your competition is. You want to know, how you're going to price your product. Are you high end? Are you middle of the road? Are you offering a value? You want to know the structure of your business. Are you a LLC to take away some of the liability from yourself, or are you an S corp? What are your taxes? What do you need to do to stay in good standing? What kind of insurance do you need? And then how are you going to get the word out about your business? So these 10 steps to start a new business, are very important, and they're not listed in any order. None of these are more important than the other, and some of them can be done in any order. So the first thing you want to do, and I think that this is a good first one, is get some business assistance and training, just like you're doing right now. But even go further, work with us on one-on-one. Talk to the SBDC or other groups that can help small businesses. You are in a part of the country that has the most free small business services available. Take advantage of each and every one. You're going to want to write a thorough business plan. That's going to help you start your business, but it's also going to help funders understand why they want to fund your business. If you're having employees, you really want to figure out legally what you need to do to have them, what your responsibilities are, your taxes, unemployment insurance, all kinds of things like that. Then, of course, you want to know where your business is going to be located. And like I said before, is it home-based in brick and mortar? And also, does opening it up in a certain jurisdiction open you up to more resources? If you open up in a main street or historic commercial district, oftentimes municipalities will help pay for your signage or your facade work. So there are real things, also like tax incentives, that based on the address of your business, you may be able to take advantage of. Again, like I said before, you want to determine the legal structure of your business. You then want to register a business name, and you want to think, am I just going to open up one business and I'm just going to call it what it is? A business I'll use as a fake example is Nick's Dill Pickles. Or am I going to, eventually open up an entire line of condiments? So it can just be Nick's Food LLC, and we can do a DBA, or doing business as Nick's Pickles, Nick's Donuts, whatever it's going to be. You want to make sure that you register for the state and any local places so that you are paying your taxes. In order to take advantage of any of these services that involve money, you need to be in good standing. Based on your municipality, county, or other jurisdiction, you may need specific business licenses and permits. So you want to talk with your local departments of commerce or planning or economic development agencies. You want to talk about how you're going to finance your business. Like I said, are you going to need a loan? Do you have investors? Do you have money already saved up? And not just to start your business, but to sustain yourself as you're growing your business. If you're unable to keep a current job, you need to have income to keep a roof over your head, yourself clothed and fed. So you want to make sure that you've got the right finances. And then you want to develop a detailed marketing plan. And when we talk about the business plan, we're going to go into some detail about what we want to see in a marketing plan. But just know that it's much more than how you're going to advertise your business. It's really understanding where you fit in the business landscape, and understanding who the folks that you're going to be making money off of are. Let's see. Then we want to talk a little bit about understanding your market. Or wait, Donna, is this where you come in? I'm sorry, I can't see the slide now.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I lost the slide numbers. Like, wait, this is Donna. So Donna, I'm going to hand it right back over to you.
Thanks, Nick. So, as Nick was saying, you need to develop your marketing plan. And to do that, you really need to understand your market. So, how do you do that? If you do the proper research, you will remove the business risks before you even start. You need to determine if there is room for your business in the marketplace. And to do that, it's really your responsibility to demonstrate the need for your business. And you do that in your business plan. And we'll talk about in a little bit more about that. But for example, if there's 8 pizzerias in your neighborhood and you want to open up the 9th pizzeria, you need to have a good reason as to why that 9th pizzeria is going to do business and thrive in your neighborhood. By researching trends, you can spot current and upcoming problems in your industry and take steps to combat them. You can discuss this in your business plan, identify sales opportunities. And speaking of the business plan, you need to include all the data and citations from your research. So, what we mean by that is you want to include all your research, and then you also want to point out where you got your research from. That is an often missed part of a business plan. And it's really important because that way, whoever the reader is, if it's a lender, if they want more information about some bit of data or market research that you did, they can go back and reference where the source of the information. Next slide, please. Okay, so where do you get all this research, right? You have to do it. So there's plenty of places that you can get it, right? The internet, industry publications, government websites are an excellent source. Your local chambers of commerce, trade organizations, and look for local, regional, and national organizations. So, for example, say you have a trucking business and you're talking in your research about data that involves the trucking industry nationally. See if you can bring it back to Maryland and tell us some statistics about the state of Maryland in the trucking industry. We always like to see more of a drilled down effect in your business plan and with your market research. Next slide, please. So, what are a few advantages and disadvantages of owning your own business? Next. The pros, first of all, and probably number one for most people, is you get to be your own boss, right? You can't be fired. You determine your own income. And the magic of the cash flow projections is that when you do those, you can figure out how much you can pay yourself. So that's why I like doing the cash flow projections. You get to do what you love and you create jobs so you help others thrive and provide for their families. And that's a magical feeling. The cons, you're going to work long hours. It's not a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday gig. It's not opening up, a couple of days a week. You're going to be working a lot of hours. You also take on all the financial risk for the business. You may go without income for a time or occasionally. You may need additional training or education, and that takes time as well. You may not be able to take a vacation for a while. And just work life balance, trouble finding time for yourself. And of course, you'll have a lot of bosses, which are your customers. Next slide. Now, Nick was touching on this a little bit earlier. There are some business types that are eligible for additional resources. And what we mean by that is that could be grants, that could be tax breaks, that could be stipends, and more. And those businesses are listed here. And some of those require certifications. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later in the presentation. We have a training coming up that, for example, where you can become a certified woman-owned business enterprise. And I want to make sure that I highlight that because anybody who's interested in these types of businesses could receive a special certification that would give you certain advantages in the marketplace. Now, Nick is going to talk to you about what you need to make it. Nick? Nick, I think you're muted.
Yep. We're going to talk just a little bit about what it takes to make it. What are the keys to success? So you want to make sure you have the necessary skills to start your business, and it means more than just just knowing about your business type. But it is important that you do know that you want to be an expert in the products and services that you have or that you're going to sell. So you want to figure out, if you don't already have that, where you're going to find help to get the training that you need for whatever you're weak on. And if you are really strong on your product or your service, but you don't understand a lot about business finance, you can talk to a group like us. If you know a lot about business finance, but less about your product or service, you can find trade organizations that can help you out. You also want to think about, do you have any business management experience? It can be anything from managing or shift leading at a fast food restaurant to having run your own business in the past. But if you don't have any experience, you're going to want to do some reading up on what it takes to manage not just your business, but also the folks that are going to help bring your business to life. You want to make sure that you can effectively recognize and solve problems. What that means is you want to be quick on your feet. Entrepreneurs need to be able to plan for just about everything, but understand that something that they don't plan for is going to happen. I've recently been doing a lot of reading, and I have found out that there is a strong correlation between people who have taken improv classes and people who are able to be effective problem solvers. So you can have a little bit of fun in your off time learning how to do improv, and you'll be actually helping your business grow. And if you don't have the skills you need, can you find a mentor? Can you use a group like SCORE through the SBA to find somebody who's done what you've done? Do you know somebody in the field who's willing to help you out, an old boss, a teacher, a professor, somebody like that, or anybody who's willing to help you, grow the business that you want to grow, even if you don't have the expertise that you think you may need? Now, there are certain things that you want to make sure that you have when you're starting a business that go, pretty much across the board. You want to make sure that you are legally allowed to operate a business where you choose to. If you're not a home-based business, there are zoning and other types of requirements. There's sometimes urban renewal plans. So check with your county or your city or municipality to figure out what those are, to make sure you're opening up in the space you're allowed to. You also want to check the other states and local requirements. There are certain business types where you need to have different certifications. If you're dealing with food, large quantities of people, children, things like that, you're going to need specific licenses and assurances. You're going to want business insurance as well. Lots of businesses just need a basic liability coverage that's $600 to $1,000 a year. But again, if you're working with food, fire, children, things like that, you're going to need additional insurance, and you want to work with a trusted insurance broker to do that. You also want to know your banking, have a business bank account, get to know that business banker, but also have internal controls. Make sure that you can understand your finances and your bookkeeping, even if you are, or you should be, hiring somebody to help you do that. You also want to think about your credit. If you are going to be starting or growing your business, your personal credit is one of the most important things in accessing capital. The truth is that most CDFIs and most for-profit banks these days are not looking at business credit. They are looking at personal credit of the owners of the business. So you want to make sure that you either have your credit in check, or if there are issues, you have got a way to explain why they are what they are. We have just come out of a pandemic. People lost jobs, people got ill, people had to take care of their family members. They may have gotten behind on some bills. That's different than somebody who bought a bunch of TVs and didn't pay off their credit card bills. And we're able to look at that. But you really want to make sure you know where your credit is. Use something like Credit Karma to check your credit and understand where you're at. And then there's a new concept in small businesses, which is bail. You want to make sure you have a bail team. Again, that's a banker, an accountant, and that doesn't mean that you've got a full-time accountant. It means that you've got somebody on retainer or who can help you do your taxes and make sure that you are in good standing, and then make sure that your books are looking at like you want them to, so that you know if you need to do something to improve your business before you're at a crisis stage. Again, you want to have an insurance person, and it's not just the policy. Get to know your the insurance agent. They will know different things that you can do to lower your insurance. They'll keep an eye out for you, and they're just a good asset to have in your business. And then a lawyer. Again, you don't necessarily have to have one on retainer or on staff, but know who the small business lawyers are in your ecosystem. Get to know them, develop a relationship with them so that when you do need them, you're not just coming in cold. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Donna to discuss what it takes to make a business plan to help start and fund your business. And Donna, you may be muted.
I was muted. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it. So we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to do a general overview of what goes into a business plan. As I said, we do a training, and we actually have one coming up that goes into more detail about a business plan. But I want to give you just some general ideas of what does go into a business plan, what it should contain. I also, before I start into this section, want to say that if you have a business plan and you'd like us to look it over, we are more than happy to do that. That is free of service. Just email it to us. Or if you don't have a business plan, we have free templates that we would be happy to email to you for you to use. So just email us and let us know that you need one. Okay, so first of all, and we'd also be happy to work with you as well. If you just need some additional help with your business plan or want to work through a business plan with us, we are here to counsel you, to work with you, to hold your hand, to get you to that place where you need to be to get funded. All right, so what should a business plan contain? First of all, I want to say a business plan is a living document and should be taken off the shelf occasionally and updated. It's very important. This is actually where you're going to take all your research that we just talked about and you're going to put it in your business plan. All right. You want to clearly define and describe your business so that somebody who is not affiliated with your business, never heard of it, can clearly understand what you do. That's very important. I can't tell you how many business plans I get where I am not clear what the business is. Okay. And that's where you're going to demonstrate your understanding of the industry. This is where the research kicks in, right? You want to talk about your target market and your competition and your special sauce. What makes your business special? So, for example, if you have a boutique, is it you have extended hours versus your competition? You sell a certain brand versus your competition. You offer a service that, say, delivery, local delivery that your competition does not offer. What is your special sauce? It needs to set up a financial plan, and this is also where you're going to make the ask for your funding. And don't be afraid to make the ask. That's what we're looking for in the business plan. We want to know, from a lender point of view, how much funding do you need? And don't be afraid of that at all. You want to, like a resume, you need to change up the business plan depending upon your audience. And you want to keep it realistic because we can spot inflated numbers from a mile away. it's okay to have, funders like to see a real plan, and it's okay to have conservative numbers. It's okay to show 1 month that you might have a loss because that's realistic. Don't be afraid to show your real, true numbers. Next slide. Okay, this is the nuts and bolts of what goes in the business plan. And the first part is called the executive summary. The executive summary is sometimes best written at the end because it is a summary of your entire business plan. So for some people, it's just easier to write last. It's the first thing that your funder will see or the reader will see. So really, it has to have the details and just the details of your business plan. This is where you want to say, this is my business. We're located here. This is what we do. This is also where you want to make the ask. So this is where you're going to say, we are looking for $100,000 in funding for the purposes of purchasing a delivery vehicle, a sprinkler system, furniture, and payroll. And you'll go into further detail later on in the business plan. I also think the executive summary is a nice place to let your passion shine through. This is where you can talk about why you want to start your business in the first place, what interests you. Make the connection for the reader. Make it make sense. I love reading about why people want to start their businesses because the stories are just so varied and so passionate when you read them. So really think about including some information about that in your executive summary. Now you want to talk about your marketing plan. And this is where all your research goes. And don't forget to include those citations. So you're going to demonstrate that you understand your industry, your target customer, and your competition. And when you discuss your target customer, I just want to say a special word about this. You really want to try to narrow that down as much as possible. So, for example, we once had a client who did wedding invitations, and she basically said her target customer was anybody who was going to have a wedding in the state of Maryland. And most
He
likely,
gets his paycheck or has been getting his paycheck the last several months every week. So he should have seen something if it wasn't right then.
excuse me, can you,
I've
we
given
can
it to
hear
him
you if you
before
can mute
because he needs
yourself.
to like turn shit in. So
Can everybody please mute your Zooms? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So obviously you're not going to do, if you're doing wedding invitations, you're not going to do wedding invitations for every single wedding in the state of Maryland. That's just not realistic. So you really want to narrow down your target customer. And you also want to discuss your costs and your selling prices. And that's the cost to you. So if you're making widgets, how much does it cost to you to make a widget? And how much are you selling those widgets for?
yeah.
Please mute yourself.
So that's Maryland. Maryland can put one.
Okay. Next slide, please. All right, the next section is organization and operations. This is where you wanted to have your location. These are really sort of like the details part, right? So you're going to talk more about your location. You're going to talk about the legal form of your business. And
there you go. Sorry,
yes.
could you go back about 15 seconds? Your mic cut off for a bit.
Oh, okay. All right. So the organization and operations section is where you're going to have all the details. So you're going to talk about the location of your business. You're going to talk about the legal form of your business. Are you an LLC? Are you a sole proprietorship? What is your management structure? Who are your key employees? And I actually I have a little tip here. If you know who your key employees are, so for example, if you have a boutique and you have somebody who's your manager, consider putting their resume in the addendum in the back of your business plan. Funders like to know who those key employees are, and so giving them as much information as you can is helpful. What training do you have? The licensing. Again, any training or licensing that you have, if you have special certifications, you want to include those in the back of your business plan so we can see, oh, this person has actually taken 80 hours of training in how to open up a bookstore. That's really good. You want to discuss any insurances that you have, and this is new. You want to describe contingency plans, especially your COVID-19 plan. Many businesses are shutting down or have shut down because of COVID-19. So we just want to see that you've given some thought as to what would happen if, God forbid, you had a problem with that. So how would you deal with it? And then the next section, the next large section is your financial plan. So you want to talk here in more detail about the ask. How much do you need? And then you're going to include a line item breakdown of how the funds will be spent in more detail. And if you're including some larger items, so for example, you wanted to purchase a sprinkler system or a vehicle, you'll want an invoice and include that in your business plan in the addendum as well. Any other monies needed and where it will come from. So for example, if you're applying for another loan or you've received a grant, you'll want to disclose that in your business plan. How much of your own money have you invested? This is very important. I know many of you, if you have a business already or if you started your business, you have already probably put in a large amount of money, more than you'd care to think about, into your business. Or if you're going to start your business, you probably will invest some of your own money into your business. Keep track of it and talk about that in your business plan. We like to see that you've got some skin in the game. It's very important. And then also you're going to talk about your income and expenses related to your cash flow situation for the next 2 to 3 years. A business plan is a requirement for any Small Business Administration approved lender. So this is a very important document. And also you'll need a cash flow projection. And that's what Nick is going to talk about next.
Alrighty, so we're going to talk a little bit about cash flow projections, what they are and why we need them. So really basically what a cash flow projection is it's a document that can show you how much money you expect to come in the business and then how much will go out through expenses. This will help you identify if your business is profitable, if you can pay your employees, and if you can pay yourself. We do need them, as Donna said, because they're required for any of our loans and most other loans. They want them broken out monthly, usually for at least 2 years. It is a great planning tool. It can show you what you think your business is going to do. And then as you're opening and you see the money coming in, you can see if you're meeting your expectations. And if you're not, you can then change your business plan to help increase sales or services. It shows the difference between the money coming in and what the actual profit is. It's just good governance. And like I said before, it shows you when you can start paying yourself. So if you see over here on the right hand of the screen, a very scary documents with lots and lots of cells, don't worry, it's a lot simpler than it looks. And in fact, we are happy to schedule time with you to help develop the cash flows for your business. Generally, it takes less than an hour. It is a living document. It's going to change over the life of the business. And in fact, not only will not all of the cells be accurate, the odds are that the majority of them will be different than what you project. These are just estimates. But like Donna said, we want to be realistic and not too bullish. Show that you can do well in the worst case scenario. And then if you make a lot more money, then that's just gravy and wonderful. When you're showing your income, which is going to be the top part of the cash flows, you want to break it down as much as you possibly can. Same thing with the revenue and with the expenses. The more detail you can have, the more you will know about your business. So if you are starting a restaurant, separate dine-in, carry-out, catering, alcohol, merch, all of that stuff. That way, when you see the money coming in, you can see where you are excelling and where you may need to do some more work. Or you may see that, catering is not a good part of your business. You're not making any money on it, but the alcohol sales have really gone up. So you take away the catering program and focus more on the bar program. It really helps you decide how you're going to move forward with your business. You want to consider, is you're a business that stays the same month to month, or are you something like a landscaper that might be more busy in the spring and summer and fall than they will be in the winter? And does your cash flow show you that? One thing that most people forget to do is put their loan as income and their payments as expenses. So make sure you do that. And if you already have financing somewhere else, make sure you put those payments as well. We do really want folks who are starting businesses to have a high quality of life. So we want to make sure that you're paying yourself. So what I'm going to talk about next is what I think that, Donna, are you doing the loans?
No, you are.
Okay, I thought that. So sorry about that. So what I'm going to talk next about is how to apply for funds through a CDFI, and a little bit about what a loan is going to look like. So the amounts of our small business loans can range, our traditional ones, from $5,000 to $35,000 for businesses that are less than 2 years old, and $5,000 to $150,000 for businesses that are more than 2 years old that are expanding. The terms are going to be 1 to 10 years, depending on the size of your loan. A $35,000 loan may be 5 years, whereas anything over 100 would most likely be 10 years. Our interest rates are currently set at 6 to 12%. However, I will say the majority of these loans go out at 8%. Very rarely, some of the larger loans may go at 7%. Collateral is required, but we can be very flexible with what we can use. Of course, real estate is the best kind, but we can use equipment. We can sometimes use things purchased with the loan, automobiles, other people's property. So just because you think you don't have collateral doesn't mean that you don't. Definitely talk with us. We do require that anybody who owns 20% or more of the business personally guarantee the loan. If you have a larger group where nobody owns 20% of the business, we're going to want to see 3 or 4 people personally guarantee the loan. We do have application fees. It is good to know that all of our other services are completely free, whether or not you apply for a loan with us. However, when you do apply, there will be a $100 application fee plus $25 per business owner for credit checks. We do a TransUnion soft pool, and we do not have a minimum credit score. It's really based on the last 12 to 18 months of your history. If you are approved, there are closing costs. They are taken out of the proceeds of the loan, so you do not need to bring any money to the closing process. Once you have the loan, we will start doing automated payments from the account that we deposit the money into. That will be monthly, either on the 1st or the 15th of the month, and they generally start between 30 and 45 days after the loan is closed. We have no penalties for prepayment as long as your loan is 30 days old. If you get a great contract and just want to pay it off, you just pay whatever the principal is at that moment. During the life of the loan, we are going to visit you twice a year, either in person or virtually. We're going to want to look at your books, get an understanding of how your business is doing, and then we can offer resources to help you grow and sustain that business. One question that we often get is, what kind of businesses can you serve, and what can you use the loan funds for? We can serve almost any business in our service area again being the Eastern Shore of Maryland, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, and Baltimore City. The few things that we cannot serve are things in the traditional sin industries, 100% alcohol type places, adult bookstores, and things like that. We are able to work with medical and recreational cannabis companies at this point, however. So we're able to do both counseling and lending to those. The other business type that we cannot fund everything for is if you have a business where you purchase property to rehab and either rent out or sell, we cannot pay to purchase or do the actual work of rehabbing the property. However, if you need a truck, if you need equipment that is reusable, if you need to build out your own office, we can definitely work with that. Sample business loan uses can be basically anything business related, lease space, furniture and equipment, working capital for salaries and business supplies. One thing that we cannot pay for, however, is if you are a home-based business, these loans cannot cover any of your rent or mortgage or utilities for the place where you live. We also have a credit builder loan, which is a much, much smaller loan. These are for folks who either have poor or no credit, or maybe just thinking about dipping their toe into entrepreneurship, or are an existing business that has an emergency pop up. These are much quicker turnaround loans. They go up to $5,000. They tend to be a 2-year term. The interest rate is 9%. Everything else is the same except for much lower fees, with a $50 application fee and $75 in closing costs. Everything else is the same. If you do get one of these and decide you want to grow your business more, you can absolutely get one of our traditional loans on top of this one. So looking at eligibility criteria for the loan, what we're looking for, so just so you know, the staff of MCE does not make the decisions on the loans. It is done by an all-volunteer loan committee made up of bankers, other people from CDFIs, and nonprofits, and retired professionals. But we're looking for, do you have a strong, clearly established business idea with a thorough business plan? Do you have experience in the field or mentorship? Do you have a good cash flow and collateral? Like I said, with the credit, it's not the minimums, it's not the score, it's what you've been doing the last few months, with exceptions for when there are issues that are beyond your control. We're also looking for the general economic conditions of the venture. If there are, like we said, if there's 6 pizza shops on a block and you're opening up a pizza shop, you're going to have to convince us there's room for you in that marketplace. And then your ability to repay the loan. Are you going to be able to get back in the workforce if the business isn't successful and make good on that debt? The application documents that are required, this is the same across most CDFIs. You're going to have some kind of intake. Ours is done online. There'll be a business loan application. Again, this is online for us. On that, you will make the ask, discuss a little bit about your business, and provide financial documents, your business plan, and your cash flows. You're going to have a personal information supplement. This is a simplified personal financial statement. Talks about your current assets and liabilities, some work history, and your monthly expenses. We will need for every loan a business plan and those cash flows. We will need for every loan 2 years of personal taxes for anybody who owns 20% of the loan, and 3 months of personal bank statements for anybody who owns 20% of the business. If your business is not a startup and has been around long enough, we're going to want to see profit and loss statements, a quarterly balance sheet, business tax returns, and corporate banking statements for 3 months. We do need to see that a loan was turned down by another lender. This does not mean that you have to have gone through an entire application process. If you're talking with your banker and they say that, this just isn't the right time for them, if you can get them to put that in an email, that will be more than enough. And then everything else is optional, but highly recommended. If you can get reference letters, either from current clients, mentors, former bosses, anything like that, that is great. And then any other attachment you can use to help tell your story. Things like a resume, a lease for the space you're going to open your business in, estimates for build out or equipment, invoices if you've gotten to that point, contracts if you've gotten to that point, social media, websites. If you've made a promotional video, go ahead and send that as well. Anything we can use to help tell your story is going to help us be able to make a better argument to get you that funding. Once you do apply for the loan, we accept applications to the first Friday of the month. At that point, we look it over. We get your application fee. We pull your credit. If there are any credit issues, we give you an opportunity to explain them before we show it to the loan committee. At the end of the month, the loan committee will meet. They will determine if the loan is going to be approved, what the rate and term will be. And at that point, we will let you know. If it's a yes, we'll get you a commitment letter. If it's a no, we'll let you know why and talk about ways that we can help improve the application for either applying with us again or applying somewhere else. It is good to know that our loan committee does not tend to fund partial loans. We're really looking to fund the amount of money that you need to start your business. So if you ask us for $50,000, there is no way that we're going to give you 25, because we would be looking at that as seeing that you need 50, giving you only half of what you need, setting yourself up for failure with debt, and we don't want to put anybody in that situation. So with that, I'll hand it over to Donna to talk about some small business resources and finish everything up.
Okay, so one of the things we wanted, thanks Nick, is to give you some ideas of where you could get some additional assistance. Of course, you can come to us at Maryland Capital Enterprises. Again, we offer free, and that's the thing that I want to leave you with, is that do not pay for any assistance or a business plan template or anything like that, there are free resources out there and lots of really great organizations. There, you have a business center at your local library, your local economic development organization, your local chambers of commerce, the Maryland Department of Commerce. The Maryland Small Business Development Center is an excellent resource. They're also free. They're broken down by county, so they may know of additional funding in your area that's very specific to your county or municipality that we may not be aware of. Operation Hope is a great organization where you can take your business idea through with a class of other business leaders, emerging leaders, and develop a business plan at the end of the coursework. The Small Business Administration has an excellent program called Lender Match, which if you go to Lender Match, they will match you with Small Business Administration approved lenders in your area. So if you're not sure where to apply, that's a great resource for you. Again, it's called Lender Match. And that's with the Small Business Administration at their website. SCORE, great nonprofit. You can get a free mentor that has run a business similar to what you want to work with, and they will help you develop your business plan or whatever else you need. You can go to them with all kinds of questions about how do I do this? How do I do that? But they'll assign you a mentor to do that, and that's absolutely free. Your local universities, Salisbury University and Morgan State has an excellent business program there. And there's local business organizations such as the Downtown Partnership in Baltimore City, Main Street, both Maryland and Baltimore, and the Small Business Resource Center. So all of these are great places for you to go to get free resources to assist you with the next steps. Next slide, please. Okay. Here are just a few things that we want to leave you with to remember when you're applying for funding. The first one is do not quit your day job. You will be asked about your household income, and having a job is in your favor. So if you can, keep your job for as long as you can, because one of the most important things that we want to know is how you're going to pay back the loan. And if you have a job, that gives you a way to pay back the loan, even if your business folds. We know that's not going to happen, but if it did, you would have a way to pay back the loan. And remember, bail, unless you're an accountant, you need an accountant of some kind. Do not try to handle your finances on your own. There's a lot that you need to consider, tax implications, all kinds of things. Do consider seeking the services of an accountant. Don't forget to ask for help. There are many resources available out there that are free or no cost to you. And this will help you beat the statistics, frankly. Put your money in the bank. Lenders like to see deposits. Now is not the time to take that luxury vacation you've been considering when you're applying for a business loan. Again, this goes back to, can you pay back the loan? And no business is an island. Consider getting involved in your local community. There are lots of things you can do. Join your Chamber of Commerce. Support a local school group or something like that. There's lots of ways to get involved in your community, and lenders like to see that. Next slide, please.
There we go.
Okay. These are some upcoming free webinars that we have here at MCE. And the first one I want to point out is the next one that Nick and I are doing is on business plan and cash flow projections. And in this one, we'll go into much more detail about how to do a business plan and how to do your cash flow projections. So if you're really at that point, and I would say, if you're thinking about what is I'm really thinking about getting a loan, what is the next step? I don't have a business plan. The business plan is the next step. So doing your cash flow projections is the next step. So really consider attending this training. We'll go over everything you need to know on how to complete these. But again, I want to point out that if you would like assistance, if you would like to see our free templates that we have, email us now and we'll be happy to give them to you. We'll be happy to work with you now on your business plan. And if you have a business plan now, we're happy to look at it and give you feedback. And then I also mentioned this earlier. So we have this is a 2-part series, these workshops coming up in January. And they're both very informative classes on how to be certified as a minority business enterprise, a disadvantaged business enterprise, and a small business enterprise. And there are benefits to all of those. And this will walk you through the application process on how to do these. So I highly encourage you to, if you're even thinking about it, to attend those to get more information. And if you would like to register for those, just go to our website at marylandcapital.org, and it's under the education, what do I want to say? I want to say slide, but it's not slide. Under the education topic tab. Thank you. That's the word I couldn't think of. Tab. And you'll find the information about how to register for these webinars. Next slide.
That always does that on the last slide. I'll bring it back up.
With that, we want to open it up for questions. And I want to really thank everybody for being here today. I know it's not easy to give up your lunch hour to sit in a training about small businesses, but you did. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to thank my coworker, Nick, for doing this training with me. And I would like to point out our contact information is here at the bottom of the page, and the website for marylandcapital.org, where you can register for those webinars as well. And with that, Nick and I can open it up for questions.
So we do have one from the chat. The question was, are there grant or scholarship opportunities rather than a loan? And the truth of the matter is that there is not a lot of free money out there right now. If you are in one of those historic districts, you might be able to get a facade improvement grant. If you are working in the daycare, assisted living, or some environmental, what should I say? If the environmental businesses generally can sometimes get some state and local grants. I don't know about any of them currently, but generally businesses, when you're looking for capital, it's going to be in the form of either a loan or a line of credit.
And I would recommend checking out the Maryland Small Business Development Center and going to your local county or municipality. They may have grants that available in your local area that we're just not aware of.
All right. Are there any other questions?
I have another question.
Sure.
Trying to see the difference between, I think you guys are saying sole proprietor and LLC, something like that.
Right. So an LLC protects the owners of the business from some liability, some financial liability, but it does have more reporting requirements and registration requirements. Whereas sole proprietorship, the business owner is the business, so that they take on more risk, but they have a little bit more freedom. It's best to either talk with us one-on-one or with the Maryland Small Business Development Center to figure out what is best for you. It is also good to know that if you register as one and you decide that that's not right, it's not very hard to change to the other one or to something else.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Sure.
You said you was going to send this into our email, like the overall what we went through today.
Yes. So everybody who participated will get an email from MCE that will have the slides and a link to the YouTube. If you want our cash flow and business plans, please email either me or Donna, and we'll get that over to you. And our emails are in the chat right now.
Okay. And Ms. Donna, you also stated earlier that you was gonna go over if it's a woman, business and stuff like that. You said you was gonna go back over that more into details for the loan.
Oh, a woman-owned business? That I was referring to the upcoming webinars that are happening at MCE to become a certified woman-owned business enterprise. You'll want to attend those to get more information, and it'll also walk you through the application process. So it'll talk to you about what the benefits are of that certification, and then also how to apply.
Okay. Do you know if the women-owned business, do you know, would that be considered like the whole business have to be just woman, or is it just the woman have to be the owner? You get what I'm saying?
The majority owner does not have to be
Okay, so
100%, but the majority owner.
majority owner. Okay.
Yep. So we do have a lot of businesses where, you know, it's a husband and wife opening up a business and she owns 51% and he owns 49%, which allows them to be a WBE.
That's what I need. That's perfect because that's
Yeah.
exactly my situation. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Yeah. We did, let's see, there's one more question in the chat. So you want to start as a sole proprietor. So the best place to start is with the state of Maryland. They have a Business Express website. You're able to register your business right on there. You can save your progress. And it also talks a little bit more about the advantages and disadvantages in Maryland for having the different types of businesses. But that's really how you do register the business. If you have more detailed questions, just contact us directly or contact the SBDC. All right.
Which
Any
is
other
the Maryland
questions?
Small Business Development Center, SBDC.
All righty. Any other questions? Nope. All righty. Well, this was a great hour. Thank you all very much. I will say, I think of my best questions when these things end. So please feel free to email us with any questions you think of afterwards. And just think of us as a resource for you throughout the life of your business. And it's a free resource. So please take advantage of it.
Yes,
Don, do you have anything else?
whether you apply for a loan with us or not, please think of us as a resource for you. And we'd be happy to work with you on your business plans, cash flow projections, or whatever you need.
Awesome. And with that, I'll say thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Good luck on growing your businesses. And just, yeah, like I said before, have a great day. Thank you.
Best of luck to you all.